Hey fam, welcome back. And if you're new, welcome. My name is 𝗫𝗫, where we talk filmmaking, photography, and travel. Now, if that tickles your fancy, support the channel by gently tapping the subscribe button. Or don't, it's your life. If you do, we appreciate you. Tired of Final Cut Pro hiccup slowing down your edits? Today, we're going to go over some essential settings, import and export tips so you can continue creating without interruption. But before we dive in, just a quick heads up. This video is part of a series called Final Cut Pro Level 1, and it's crafted exclusively for Final Cut Pro newcomers. So if you're just starting out, you're in the right place. And remember to watch to the end so you don't miss any tips. First thing first, open Final Cut Pro. And for us, we already have it open. Then you want to go to your menu, and where it says Final Cut Pro, select that and then scroll down to settings. Then you'll be greeted with this dialog box. First one we're going to talk about is where it says general. If you click that, we leave everything alone. The only thing we've changed here is where it says color correction. By default, I believe it says color board. Now, if you go over to your inspector and you select this triangle item with the color in the middle, you'll get your color correction, and it looks something like this. There are 3 tabs. There's color, saturation, and exposure. Now, if we go back and change it to color wheel, and the reason why we opted for this versus the color board is really just the layout and the ease of use. Notice when we select color wheel, when we go back to the inspector, everything is laid out with these circles, and you can control everything the same way that you would with the color board, except you don't have to go tab by tab by tab. And because this isn't a color editing video, we're not gonna dive into it, but let me know in the comments if you guys want me to make a video on color grading. So number 2 is editing. The way we have our setup is where it shows detailed trimming feedback. We have that selected. And if we go down to your timeline, actually let me disable the audio so it doesn't distract us. So if I select this clip and go towards the end, and if I'm trying to add more frames in, you'll notice that it'll give us the beginning of the next clip, which is this clip here. Now if I went to the second clip here, and if I'm trying to add more audio or more frames this way, you'll notice it's the end of the previous clip. So it's this clip here's the end. Now if we uncheck this part, notice when I'm trying to add, there's no additional image. Hopefully that makes sense. So we'll go ahead and turn that back on, and position playhead after edit operation. We usually have this unchecked, and the way that works is, let's go ahead and select this, get everything into our timeline, and if I select this clip here and if I hit E to add a clip to the end of the timeline, notice my playhead is where it was, and then you just have to kind of go and start playing it that way. But if you were here and if you drop the image, you can just play right away. Now if you have this selected, and let's just say if I dropped another clip this way, notice my playhead went directly to the end. So in order for you to get back to the beginning, you just have to use your skimmer. And so it's just kind of a personal preference if you want it. To me, I feel like it's easier once you're done editing. Most of the time your playhead is where it's kind of at the end of your timeline. So if you drop a clip, it's easier just to go ahead and play versus it being at the end and then having to kind of move back and play again. The next one is show reference waveform. So if you have this selected, let me go to, now notice on my audio track here, let me actually increase the audio files. Mute that and mute that so it's mute that so it's not distracting. But notice now on the bottom with this audio track here, even though we lowered the audio by -32, decibel. If you look, there's a shadow in the back that shows the maximum audio resolution. So essentially, it's what the audio was when you import it. And let's go ahead and uncheck those. And for duration, for audio fade, crossfades, we have it at 1/2 second. Still images, we have it at 5, and transitions, we have it at 1. So the way this works, enable all those guys. So if you have these 2 clips here ready, do that again. Select these 2 clips, and I believe our shortcut is Y. Yeah, so it'll say crossfade here, and just go ahead and create it. Now if you go in, notice how we added the fade out and then fade in. So if I just undid that again, notice there's nothing there. But if I select the 2 clips, hit Y, as if I want to create it, now it creates that fade. So for still images, let's see if I have any. Okay, so we know this is a still image. So if I drop this at the end, notice if I click this, it says 5 seconds. And then for transitions, we have it at 1 second. So if we just did this, so there wasn't enough frames, extra media beyond this clip. So you'll get this every now and then. You can just hit create transition. What Final Cut Pro does is it creates the transition, tries to add clips. And then notice how it says 1 second duration and 3 is playback. If you click on that, where it says rendering and then background render, we have it unchecked. And this one is a 2-for-1. And the reason why we say that is, 1, when you're trying to render your files, when you're editing, the rendering just takes a lot of computing power. So if you're trying to render and you're trying to edit, you're going to have some issues. And notice on ours, there's a bunch of little dots on the top. That just means that the file hasn't been rendered. Occasionally, you'll get issues where you're trying to play back. It'll give you an error message. And if it does, all you have to do is, there's 1 of 2 ways. What I would suggest is just selecting whatever the clip is. And then if you go to your menu, modify, it's render selection, which is Command R. You just is your shortcut. Okay, we're not gonna lie. We're at the point of the video where we have to ask you to subscribe. But hey, you clearly have some tolerance for my shenanigans. So why not? It's free, it's easy, and it makes us do a little happy dance. Plus, turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Now click that button and let's get back to the good stuff. And you're just essentially rendering that specific selection so that you can continue editing and playback is resolved. Once you're done editing, to render your whole project, you just want to go back to menu again and then modify, render all, and the shortcut is Control Shift and R, and that renders your whole file for you. Now, and the second part, what I mean by it saves you a lot of storage space is if we just go to, and this library that we're working on is workspace, right? So if we go here, notice how it says 143.83 gigabytes. Now, if I went in here and if I'd render all, it's rendering. So now look at how these files is going up because it's rendering in the background. So imagine if you have multiple projects with multiple render files, it can get really, your storage space can get really big. So if let's go ahead and get back in here and stop that. So if you're wanting to delete your rendered clips or proxies or any of those things, what you'll want to do is go into File, where it's to delete generated clip files. Go here and hold on here. Let's go ahead and select a project, file, delete generated. Now you'll see delete rendered files, delete optimized media, delete proxy media. Now what you want to do is just select all of these guys here, hit OK, and then if you go back out, notice how it dropped to 138.43. All right, number 4, import. Now this is up to you, but we have leave file in place selected, and the reason is we always have the original files located on the same drive that we are editing off of, and that's our 4TB glyph SSD, which stands for solid state drive, external hard drive. Now if you have your original files are going to be located somewhere else, make sure you check copy to library storage location, so that way you don't get this error message here. And you'll notice this yellow icon on the bottom right as on your library as well. Then keywords, we have both checked, and we made a video about keywords. We'll link that below in the description, so if you want to watch it later after this video, feel free to do so. Analyze video, we have none of that checked, and this section is important. Transcode, and this is what we were talking about earlier. If we have create optimized media checked and create proxy media, we have unchecked. And if you're wondering what the difference is, this is from Apple, and it says here create optimized media. This option transcode video to Apple ProRes 422 format, which provides better performance during editing, faster render times, and better quality, color quality for compositing. If the original camera format can be edited with good performance, this option is dimmed. Create proxy media. This option creates video proxy files. Video is transcoded to either the Apple ProRes 422 proxy or H.264 format. You can create proxy media in a variety of frame size, from 12.5% to 100% of the original. Proxy file increases editing performance and take considerably less storage space than optimized media. Now, if you have a hard time editing because your computer is slightly older, our suggestion would be to create proxy and set your frame rate to about 50%. If you opted for editing with proxy, I would go to your viewer window where it says view, click on that. Under media playback, check proxy media preferred. Now before you export, this is the hard part, is you have to remember to go back and select optimize and original. If you don't do that, Apple will prompt you regardless. So if you don't remember, and if you're trying to export your project, then it'll prompt you and you just have to hit OK. Plus, where it says quality, we always have this set to better performance. All right, thanks for bearing with us, fam. So number 5, destination. So under format, we have computer video codec, we have H.264 single pass faster selected. The resolution, we have 19 by 20 by 1080. The reason why we have these settings is because most of our videos at the moment go to YouTube. Obviously, if you are editing for clients and these are client projects, you always want to make sure you clarify and have this stated in your retainer or your contract on how the video should be exported. I have save current frame as well as an option, and that's because we usually use that as our thumbnail. But that is it. We know this is a lot of information, so we created chapters in the description. If you want to go back and watch another section, you can do it from the description. It'll be a little bit easier. Also, if you have any questions, we missed something, feel free to leave it in the comments, and we always will try our best to help. It is a lot to learn when you're just starting off, and it can be overwhelming, but the more you use it and the more you edit with Final Cut Pro, I promise you it will get easier. If you've made it to the end and you still haven't subscribed, utterly and completely speechless. Okay, maybe not speechless, but seriously, consider subscribing, okay? Now, to the fam that has and continue to, you're the real MVPs. Thank you. We appreciate each and every one of you. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you on the next video.